Welcome to RAUKANTEX in the Interior Solutions division. My name is Matthias Hacker. With me is Robert from Application Engineering, and today we're going to talk about card materials on the market. Since the 1950s, Robert, card edgebands have been manufactured, back then using the material PVC, which over time has somewhat fallen into disrepute. Environmental concerns, sustainability, and combustion byproducts, these were the issues that led to the introduction of ABS as a material in the 1980s. ABS is a universal product with many positive properties, but around the 1990s, these were increasingly questioned. As a result, due to the demand for improved product characteristics, another raw material was needed: PP or polypropylene. After polypropylene, PMMA was introduced as a completely new material, which is now used for specialized products, something we'll take a closer look at in detail. First, we'll look at ABS and examine the key characteristics that need to be considered.
Nowadays, we see ABS widely used by cabinet makers as well as in the industry because it's a very user-friendly material when it comes to processing. That means I can apply it manually, trim it with a handheld router, but also process it in a through-feed system or on a machining center like a CNC machine, and it's very forgiving in all of these processes. When it comes to the radius, especially with a high-gloss surface, it can be perfectly polished, giving me a seamless, high-gloss finish. Combined with zero-joint technology, the adhesive joint becomes completely invisible, resulting in a top-quality finish.
Such panels are often painted or overpainted. ABS, I believe, is the material of choice for this as well.
Exactly, that's correct, because ABS can be dissolved, which creates a very strong bond and adhesion to the paint, allowing me to perfectly overpaint the component.
Let's move on to the next material, polypropylene. It's somewhat of a counterpart, coming from industrial applications, and is characterized above all by very high UV resistance, light resistance, and also very high chemical resistance. On the product after milling, the milling residue remains relatively matte. That means it actually fits perfectly with the trend of matte surfaces and matte edges, which are currently in style. It should be mentioned, though, that the polishability of PP is somewhat limited in this case. For high gloss finishes, ABS is definitely the right material.
If I run an ABS edge and then a PP edge through the machine in a continuous process, are there any differences? Do I need to pay attention to anything?
Well, PP is a material that is a bit more demanding to process. We always have to mill against the rotation direction to avoid putting too much heat and energy into the edge. And especially in the area of the scraping blade, we need to make sure that for dark colors, an anti-white break scraping blade is used. These are scraping blades with a slight grind, which ensures a clean finish and high-quality post-processing. An important point when it comes to polypropylene is perhaps also the topic of sustainability and environmental considerations. Polypropylene is a very sustainable raw material that can be easily recycled and reused. So, if a customer has that requirement, they're welcome to reach out to us. We have plenty more information on that.
A really nice matte radius compared to my ABS, which is high gloss. What new material developments are there to enhance and expand this matte radius even further?
Exactly. We have the problem, especially with decorative edges, that when I rework the edge and expose the milling radius, there's always a uniform color difference between the edge and the panel. That means it results in a framing effect. It doesn't look very good and has more of a plastic-like appearance. So what did we do? To avoid this, or rather to conceal the milled radius a bit, we add pigments to the base edge. This can be done with ABS or PP, so that after remilling, you don't get a uniform colored milling radius, but rather a pigmented radius that effectively blurs the transition.
Yes, finally, I've brought along PMMA. PMMA is a very brittle material, it's transparent, and in this case, it's back-printed. It's a niche product for special design applications. That means if I apply it to a panel, the printing would be directly on the panel, and you'd be looking through the material. That works because it's similar to plexiglass. If I take it now and bend it, it breaks very quickly. That's how I recognize the material. When processing it, I need to make sure to mill against the rotation direction, not with it. Why? When milling in the opposite direction, the cutter cuts nicely into the material instead of smearing everything in the same direction, which can lead to cracks or even chipping.
Exactly, I believe that's the general recommendation. All materials are best processed against the rotation direction. Nowadays, machines that are delivered are equipped accordingly.
Question: plexiglass PMA. When I hear that aggressive cleaning agents can be a problem? Exactly, I brought something to show that. This morning, I tested acetone, and as you can see here, stress cracks are already forming. So, with these special edges, I have to make sure not to clean them with aggressive cleaners. That's important to know because otherwise I risk causing stress cracks in the component. Earlier, I broke the edge. Now, if I want to distinguish what's commonly available on the market, how can I recognize the difference? whether it's PP, ABS, or PMMA. PMMA breaks very easily. With these two edges here, for example, it's harder to tell. Both are white, and I don't know which material is which. I take a lighter, ignite the material, and then I see that one edge blackens with soot, burns well, and smells strongly of burnt plastic. I light the other edge. There I see it also burns, but doesn't smoke. I don't get any soot, instead it burns like a candle. When I blow it out, it smells just like blowing out a candle. This way I can identify PP by its candle-like burn and ABS by its black, sooty, strong burning flame.
So to sum it up, the materials each have different properties. And every type of edgeband or material has its own valid reason for existing. Get in touch with us and we'll help determine exactly what material you need to produce the right products.